Over 90% of drivers are losing power and wasting fuel without knowing it. A sensor smaller than an AA battery could silently drain 20% of your performance and add $30 to every fill-up. No warning lights, no error codes. Mechanics see it daily, but shops replace spark plugs, coils, even fuel pumps, charging hundreds while ignoring the real culprit. Today, I'm revealing 13 engine sensors. Sensor 1 can cause $3,000 in unnecessary repairs and takes just 5 minutes to fix. Sensor number 13, Mass Airflow Sensor, MAF. This component sits in your intake tube, measuring every molecule of air entering your engine. Inside is a heated wire about as thick as a spider's silk. Air flowing past pulls heat away, and your computer measures how much electricity it takes to keep that wire hot. That number tells it exactly how much air is going in. More air means more fuel. Perfect balance keeps your engine running smooth. Here's the problem. That wire is exposed to everything. Road dust, oil vapor, debris from cheap air filters. Over time, microscopic film builds up, and the temperature readings go wrong. The computer thinks there's more or less air than reality, so it delivers the wrong amount of fuel. You'll feel rough acceleration, fuel economy dropping 3 to 5 miles per gallon, and idle that hunts up and down randomly. Here's the kicker. Shops charge $60 to $80 to spray it with MAF cleaner. The job takes 3 minutes and costs them $4 in product. What they don't tell you, you can buy MAF cleaner for $8 at any auto parts store and do it yourself. You'd be shocked how many mechanics see dirty MAF sensors daily, but never mention this simple fix, because cleaning doesn't pay as well as replacement. You'd be shocked how many mechanics see dirty MAF sensors daily, but never mention this simple fix, because cleaning doesn't pay as well as replacement. Sensor number 12, Manifold Absolute Pressure Sensor, MAP. Instead of measuring airflow directly, this sensor reads vacuum inside your intake manifold. It's a pressure-sensitive chip that changes resistance when vacuum pulls on it. Closed throttle at idle creates high vacuum. Wide open throttle drops vacuum to almost nothing. Your computer combines that pressure reading with RPM and temperature to calculate air mass. The sensor rarely dies. What kills it is the vacuum line feeding it. One cracked hose, one loose fitting, and the readings go sideways. The computer thinks you're under heavy load when you're barely touching the gas. Result: fuel mixture goes insanely rich. Black smoke out the exhaust. Fuel consumption jumps 30 to 40% overnight, and check engine lights start screaming. Here's the kicker. Shops will sell you a new MAP sensor for $70 to $90 plus labor when all you needed was a $5 vacuum hose. What they don't tell you, mechanics know vacuum lines fail constantly, but replacing the entire sensor is a $150 job versus a $20 hose replacement. You'd be shocked how often they skip simple diagnosis and go straight to parts replacement. Here's the crazy part. One visual inspection would reveal the cracked hose, but they'd rather sell you the sensor. Sensor number 11, Oxygen Sensor, O2. The oxygen sensor in your exhaust pipe is your engine's quality control inspector. It's a ceramic element heated to over 600 degrees that generates voltage based on oxygen content in exhaust. Perfect combustion at 14.7 to 1 air-fuel ratio produces about half a volt. Too much oxygen means lean voltage drops. Too little means rich voltage climbs. The computer adjusts fuel injection thousands of times per minute based on this signal. When contaminated by bad gas, oil burning, or cheap fuel additives, it doesn't stop working immediately. It just gets slow. Delayed reactions, lazy voltage swings the computer can't keep up with. You get constant seesaw between rich and lean. Power drops, fuel economy tanks by 15 to 25%, and emissions tests become guaranteed failures. Here's the kicker. Replacement runs $120 to $200 depending on how many your car has. Most engines have 2 to 4 sensors. What they don't tell you, cleaning sometimes works if contamination is light, but shops never try because selling you 4 new sensors at $150 each is a $600 ticket versus a $40 cleaning attempt. You'd be shocked. According to EPA data, faulty oxygen sensors cost American drivers over $4 billion annually in wasted fuel. If you're already realizing how much money these secrets could save you, hit that subscribe button. We've got 10 more sensors coming that are costing you hundreds in performance and fuel economy right now. Sensor number 10, Throttle Position Sensor, TPS. This little potentiometer bolts to your throttle shaft and tracks exactly how far you've opened the gas pedal. Inside is a circular resistive track with a contact that slides along it as the throttle moves. Closed throttle sends about half a volt. Wide open sends close to 5 volts. That voltage tells the computer whether you want smooth cruising or maximum acceleration. The problem starts when that resistive track wears at the positions you use most, highway cruising and stop and go idle. The contact hits those worn spots and voltage suddenly drops out or spikes randomly. From your seat, it feels like hesitation, jerking, or complete power loss at very specific pedal positions. Some cars just shut off when the throttle passes through the dead zone. Here's the kicker. Replacement costs $100 to $160 installed. What they don't tell you, good technicians check voltage on a scan tool while slowly opening the throttle, watching for sudden drops. But most shops skip this diagnostic step and just replace the sensor immediately because testing takes time they don't bill for. You'd be shocked how many get replaced when the real problem is a loose connector or corroded pins, fixable for free. Here's the crazy part. Connector cleaning takes 2 minutes but doesn't meet minimum labor charges, so they sell you a $160 sensor instead. Sensor number 9, Crankshaft Position Sensor, CKP. Without this sensor, your engine is completely deaf. It's mounted within millimeters of your flywheel or a toothed wheel on the crank, reading magnetic pulses every time those teeth spin past. Each pulse tells the computer exactly where every piston is and how fast the engine's turning. That information controls fuel injection timing and spark timing with millisecond precision. When coated with metal shavings, burnt oil, or road grime, the magnetic signal weakens and starts cutting out. You'll get random stalling when hot, long cranking before starts, or the engine just dies while driving with zero warning. The car becomes completely unreliable and dangerous. Here's the kicker. Shops immediately blame the fuel pump or ignition system and start throwing parts at it. $400, $600, sometimes $1,000 later, nothing's fixed. Then someone finally pulls the sensor, wipes off metal debris with a rag and contact cleaner, reinstalls it, and the engine fires instantly. What they don't tell you, they make way more money misdiagnosing this as fuel pump failure than cleaning a $3 sensor. You'd be shocked how many fuel pumps get replaced unnecessarily. Here's the crazy part. Experienced mechanics know to check this first, but service advisors push for bigger repairs because cleaning doesn't meet minimum labor charges. Sensor number 8, Camshaft Position Sensor, CMP. This works with the crank sensor like 2 synchronized watches. The crank sensor tells the computer engine speed and position. The cam sensor reveals which stroke each cylinder is on, intake or exhaust. That lets the computer fire each injector in perfect sequence and control variable valve timing systems. It's usually mounted in the timing cover or valve cover. When oil sludge, thick contamination, or internal cracks mess with this sensor, the computer loses that precise cylinder reference and drops into limp mode. Sequential injection gets abandoned, and the computer just batch fires all injectors together. Idle gets rough, cold starts take forever, and you'll notice hesitation between 2,000 and 3,000 RPM that shops always blame on coils or injectors. Here's the kicker. They'll sell you a coil pack for $150 to $200. The real fix? Pull the cam sensor, clean the reading surface, check the connector. 5 minutes of work and the engine smooths right out. What they don't tell you, most CMP codes are caused by oil contamination from extended oil change intervals, not sensor failure. You'd be shocked how many drivers get sold sensors when all they needed was an oil change and connector cleaning. Here's the crazy part. The whole automotive service industry relies on you not knowing these sensors are externally cleanable. Sensor number 7, Intake Air Temperature Sensor, IAT. This tiny thermistor screws into your intake manifold or air duct, so small most drivers never notice it exists. Its only job is measuring how hot or cold incoming air is. Sounds simple, but it's critical. Cold air is denser, packed with more oxygen. Hot air is thin with less oxygen. The computer uses this data to fine-tune fuel delivery on every combustion cycle. Over months and years, oil mist from crankcase breather, sticky dust, and residue from oiled performance filters coat the sensor element. Once contaminated, it can't read true air temperature. It reports artificially hot or cold readings, causing the engine to run constantly rich or lean. You lose power, fuel economy drops 2 to 4 miles per gallon, and in hot climates, you might hear light pinging under load. Here's the kicker. Shops charge $40 to $70 to replace it. Cleaning with Electronics Cleaner restores instant response in 2 minutes and costs you $6 for a can that'll last years. What they don't tell you? IAT. Sensors almost never actually fail. They just get dirty. But billing for sensor replacement pays better than a 2-minute cleaning. You'd be shocked how many failed sensors work perfectly after a simple wipe down. Here's the crazy part. One can of cleaner could fix 50 sensors, but they'd rather sell you 50 new sensors. Sensor number 6, Engine Coolant Temperature Sensor, ECT. This sensor has more influence over how your engine runs than almost anything else, and most people never suspect it when performance drops. It sits in the coolant passage, telling the computer how cold or hot the engine is. During cold starts, the computer uses this to enrich fuel mixture, raise idle speed, and adjust timing. As the engine warms, those cold start strategies fade away. When coated internally with corrosion, scale, or sludge from old degraded coolant, it starts lying. The computer might think the engine's still cold when fully warmed, or hot when actually freezing. You'll burn fuel like crazy because the computer constantly runs in cold start enrichment mode. Idle gets rough and unstable, cold starts become impossible, and cooling fans run at wrong times. Here's the kicker. Replacement costs $60 to $120 installed. But before replacing, flush the cooling system because old contaminated coolant usually kills these sensors. Fresh coolant, clean sensor, problem solved for $25 instead of $120. What they don't tell you, according to ASE data, over 60% of ECT sensor failures are caused by neglected coolant maintenance, not sensor defects. You'd be shocked how many shops replace the sensor without even checking coolant condition. Here's the crazy part. The industry profits from your neglect. They'd rather replace your sensor every few years than tell you a $25 coolant flush would prevent the failure entirely. Sensor number 5, Vehicle Speed Sensor, VSS. When your speedometer needle starts bouncing, your transmission makes bizarre shift decisions, or cruise control randomly shuts off. This is usually the culprit. The VSS mounts on the transmission or differential and generates electrical pulses based on how fast the output shaft or wheels are spinning. The computer converts those pulses into speed, data controlling shifting points, fuel cutoff during deceleration, cruise control operation, and traction systems. When contaminated with transmission fluid, road grime, or metallic debris, those pulses arrive incomplete or irregular. The computer thinks you're going faster, slower, or completely stopped while still moving. Transmission starts hunting between gears and shifts feel harsh or delayed. You're doing 60, but the speedometer shows 40 or jumps between 30 and 70 randomly. Here's the kicker. Shops diagnose bad transmission and quote you $1,500 to $3,000 for a rebuild. The real problem? Dirty speed sensor. Pull it, clean the magnetic tip, flush the connector with contact cleaner. 10 minutes of work and shifting goes back to normal. What they don't tell you, transmission shops make money on rebuilds, not sensor cleaning. You'd be shocked how many unnecessary transmission overhauls happen because nobody checked a $40 sensor first. Here's the crazy part. Industry data shows 15 to 20% of transmission complaints are actually VSS related, but most shops jump straight to teardown. Drop a comment below telling me which sensor has caused you the most frustration. I want to see how many of you have been getting ripped off on repairs. Sensor number 4, knock sensor. Picture this, you're accelerating onto the highway and suddenly your car feels like it's towing 1,000 pounds uphill. Bolted directly to your engine block is essentially a high-tech listening device monitoring every explosion inside your cylinders. It's a piezoelectric sensor detecting specific vibration frequencies caused by detonation or abnormal combustion. When it picks up knock from low-octane fuel, excessive heat, or aggressive timing, the computer reacts in milliseconds, pulling ignition timing back and enriching the mixture to protect the engine. Here's where it gets dangerous. When coated with oil, corrosion, or dirt, or installed with wrong torque, sensitivity drops dramatically. It can't accurately transmit those critical vibration signatures. Two things happen. Either real detonation goes undetected and your engine operates on the edge of destruction, or false signals force the computer to constantly retard timing, killing power, and making the car feel like it's towing a trailer uphill. Here's the kicker. Replacement runs $100 to $220, depending on location and labor access. But before replacing, clean the mounting surface and connector, then reinstall with proper torque spec from the factory service manual. Engines that felt exhausted suddenly wake up. What they don't tell you, shops almost never check torque specs or clean mounting surfaces. They just replace sensors and charge full labor. You'd be shocked how many knock sensors work perfectly, but were just installed wrong or dirty. Here's the crazy part. This is pure profit from skipping basic procedures. Sensor number 3, oil pressure sensor. That red oil light on your dash is one of the most terrifying warnings you can see, and behind it sits a small pressure sensor that gets almost zero attention until disaster strikes. This sensor threads into an oil passage in the block or cylinder head. Its job is simple but life or death critical. Detect when oil pressure falls below safe levels. Inside, a pressure-sensitive diaphragm opens or closes a circuit or sends a variable signal to the gauge. Over years of heat cycles and oil contamination, the sensor's inlet passage clogs with sludge, varnish from burnt oil, and metallic debris. That blockage prevents actual oil pressure from reaching the sensing element. Now, you've got a nightmare scenario. Your engine might be running with dangerously low pressure, while the sensor says everything's fine. Or the opposite happens, false warnings from slow, erratic response. Here's the kicker. Shops have documented engines showing perfect pressure on the dash, while an external mechanical gauge reveals critically low readings. By the time you find out, bearing damage is already happening and you're looking at a $5,000 engine rebuild. Replacement costs $30 to $70, but cleaning or replacing during every oil change can save you from catastrophic failure. What they don't tell you, key places almost never inspect or clean oil pressure sensors, even though they're right there during oil changes. You'd be shocked how many engine failures could be prevented by a $2 sensor cleaning nobody bothers doing. Here's the crazy part. They'll happily sell you that $5,000 engine rebuild later though. Sensor number 2, fuel level sender. Picture this. You're cruising down the freeway, gauge showing a quarter tank, when suddenly your engine sputters and dies. You're stranded in traffic, hazards flashing, while cars whip past at 70 miles per hour. Inside your fuel tank, completely submerged and almost never inspected, is the fuel level sender. It's a mechanical float attached to an arm that slides across a variable resistor. As fuel level rises and falls, resistance changes, and the gauge converts that into the reading you see. After years of fuel exposure, the resistive contacts oxidize. Varnish from low-quality fuel builds up, and contamination creates false dead spots where the arm can't make proper contact. The gauge bounces randomly, gets stuck at half tank, responds super slowly after refueling, or worst case shows fuel when the tank is nearly empty. You think you've got 50 miles of range, but you've got 5. Engine starves for fuel and dies. Fuel pump runs dry and burns out. Here's the kicker. Now you're looking at $400 to $700 for pump replacement plus towing fees. Many complaints about bad fuel economy actually start here because a lying fuel gauge makes you think you're getting worse mileage than reality, or better until you're stranded roadside. What they don't tell you, most fuel sending units can be cleaned without full pump replacement, but shops don't offer this because replacing the entire pump assembly is a $600 job versus a $150 sender cleaning. You'd be shocked how much money gets wasted because nobody attempts the cheaper fix first. Here's the crazy part, is designed around expensive replacement, not repair. Sensor number 1, sensor connectors and wiring. The most common sensor problem isn't a failed sensor at all. It's the connectors and wiring, and this causes more misdiagnosis than anything else in automotive repair. Every sensor depends on 3 things: clean power supply, solid ground connection, and an uninterrupted signal path back to the computer. In millions of aging vehicles right now, vibration, moisture, and engine heat are slowly destroying wiring pins and connector terminals. Green corrosion forms inside connectors, wires break internally, while insulation looks perfect. Ground points loosen, causing random electrical gremlins that drive you insane. The scan tool throws codes for multiple sensors. Shops replace them for $200, $300, $400 each. The problem comes back a week later because the real issue was corroded connections nobody bothered to check. The sensor was fine the whole time. Here's the kicker. Cleaning connectors with dielectric spray, fixing ground points, and properly securing the harness eliminates ghost failures instantly. Experienced mechanics always check wiring first because they know the problem isn't usually the $100 component, it's the $2 connection. What they don't tell you, dealerships and chain shops have minimum labor charges that make simple connector cleaning unprofitable. They need to bill at least an hour, so they'd rather replace sensors and charge full diagnostic fees than spend 10 minutes cleaning connections for $30. You'd be shocked how many thousands of dollars in unnecessary sensor replacements happen every day because shops refuse to check the basics first. Industry insiders estimate that 30 to 40% of all sensor replacements are unnecessary and caused by wiring issues, but the profit model discourages proper diagnosis. Picture this, you've already spent $800 replacing 3 different sensors over 6 months, and the check engine light keeps coming back. The whole time, it was one corroded ground wire under the intake manifold that nobody thought to inspect. So before you let a shop sell you sensors you don't need, check the basics first. Clean connections, tight grounds, proper wiring. Most of these problems cost $10 and 15 minutes to fix. That wraps up our list of 13 engine sensors secretly killing your performance. Which one shocked you most? Drop a comment and tell me which sensor you're checking this weekend. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button for more insider automotive secrets that actually save you money. Remember, mechanics see these problems every day, but profit from you not knowing the simple fixes. Until next time, drive safe and keep that money in your pocket where it belongs.